For the next part of our assignment, please go to page 24 of your China notebook. We're going to be doing some reading about the Silk Road and answering some questions on the slides. So on page 24 it says, the Silk Road. It's a series of ancient trade routes that started in China and ended in Rome. It began under the Han Dynasty, and along the Silk Road they traded expensive goods from China like silk. So you can see that on this side is China, and it connects all the way through Asia and all the way over into Europe. So it connects the Roman Empire that we're going to learn about shortly this year, as well as the Chinese Empire. On this page of your notebook, on page 25, I believe, you can access the link to the text. I'm going to open my copy here and read it to you, but if you need to go back and read anything on your own without me, you can find it on that page, on page 25. The Silk Road. Introduction. In the last chapter, you learned about the achievements of the Han Dynasty. Under the Han, trade routes were opened that allowed the Chinese to trade with other ancient cultures. In this chapter, you'll explore the great trade route known as the Silk Road. The Silk Road was actually a network of smaller trade routes that stretched more than 4,000 miles across Asia. It reached from Liaoyang and the Han capital of Chang'an in China to the Mediterranean ports such as Antioch in Syria. By the 1st century CE, the Mediterranean region was dominated by the Roman Empire, whose capital city was Rome in present-day Italy. The Silk Road connected the great empires of the Han and the Romans. You will learn about the Roman Empire later in this book. Both goods and ideas traveled along the Silk Road. The Chinese traded such things as silk and jade. In return, they acquired or got new products such as spices from India and glassware from Rome. New ideas, including Buddhism, also entered China as a result of this trade. This Silk Road linked the peoples of the East and West for more than 1,000 years. In this chapter, you will learn about the opening of the Silk Road. You'll discover what traveling along the Silk Road was like in the time of the Han. You'll also learn about the goods and ideas that were exchanged between the cultures of Asia and the West. For this next page, this next section, if you'll notice, the heading title is 24.2. If you go back to your slides, you'll see that there are questions for each one of these sections for 24.2. So after we read this section, you need to come back to your slides and answer the questions that go along with the section. The opening of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was made possible by the expansion of the Han Empire. The military campaigns of the Han beat back nomadic peoples in northwestern China, allowing trade routes to the west to be opened. The father of the Silk Road. A Chinese explorer named Zhang Qian is often called the father of the Silk Road. His travels opened the way for trade between China and its western neighbors. In 138 BCE, a Han emperor sent Zhang Qian west with 100 men. His mission was to form an alliance with western peoples against China's northern enemy, the Huns. Zhang Qian traveled across central China to what is now the country of Iran. Twice he was taken prisoner by the Huns. Both times, though, he managed to escape. Zhang Qian was not able to form an alliance, but his trip was a success in other ways, as it helped the Chinese learn about cultures to the west. He brought back word of such places as Persia, Syria, India, and Rome. Some years later, Zhang Qian went on a second journey to the west. This time he discovered a more powerful type of horse that was better suited for war than the smaller Chinese horse. He also discovered grapes, which were unknown in China. Most importantly, he was able to establish trade relationships with some Central Asian peoples. Over time, Chinese traders traveled farther west. Smaller trade routes connected to form larger networks. The most famous of these became known as the Silk Road after the product that traders valued most of all, Chinese silk. Silk as a trade good. Silk is a fiber used to make cloth. Silk cloth is strong, but also warm, light, and soft. Silk was a valuable good for trade because at first only the Chinese knew how to make it. As you learned in the last chapter, the Chinese discovered how to make silk from fibers taken from the cocoon of the silkworm. To protect the trade value of silk, the Chinese tried to keep the process for producing it a secret. Under the Han Dynasty, revealing the secret was a crime punishable by death. Okay, so now you need to go back and answer these two questions. Number 1 says, list 3 things Zhang Qian brought back to China after his journey to Central Asia. And number 2, what product could China trade that was unknown to the West? Once you've answered those questions, you're going to come back and keep reading. So section 24.3. Rome trades glassware for silk. When people of other cultures learned about silk, it became a highly prized material. The Romans in particular eagerly traded valuable goods for silk. The first time the Romans saw silk was during a battle near the Euphrates River in Mesopotamia. At a key moment, the enemy unfurled many colorful silk banners. The Romans lost the battle, but this experience led them to want to acquire this wonderful new material. Chinese silk was a luxury item. It was rare and expensive. Even the richest Romans could afford to wear only a strip or patch of silk stitched to their white togas. A toga is a loose robe worn by men in Rome. But silk was so highly prized that traders willingly went on the dangerous journey eastward, to trade for it. The Romans had gold to trade and something else the Chinese prized, glassware. The Romans knew how to blow glass into wonderful, delicate shapes. Just as the Romans had never seen silk, the Chinese were unfamiliar with this glass production. The Romans were happy to trade glassware for silk. All right, so now go to 24.3 on the next page, and there are 2 questions to answer. How did the Romans first learn about silk? And number 4, what product could the Romans trade that was unknown to the Chinese? All right, 24.4. The Eastern Silk Road. The Silk Road was not one continuous route. Instead, it was a network of shorter trade routes between various stops. Most traders traveled between these stops rather than over the entire route. Goods changed hands many times before reaching their final destination. The 2 major parts of the route were the Eastern Silk Road and the Western Silk Road. The Eastern Silk Road connected Liaoyang and Kashgar in the western part of the Taklamakan Desert. The Western Silk Road ran from Kashgar to Antioch and other Mediterranean ports. Traveling the Eastern Silk Road. From Liaoyang, the Silk Road led west along the Gobi Desert to Dunhuang in northwestern China. This part of the route was protected to the north by the Great Wall. From Dunhuang, the travelers could choose either a northern or southern route across the desert to Kashgar. Most chose the northern route, where the distances between oases like Luan and Kucha were shorter. Several dangers faced traders crossing the Taklamakan. Bandits often attacked travelers to the northern route between Dunhuang and Kucha. Throughout the desert, sudden sandstorms sometimes buried travelers in sand. Travelers may even have been lured off the main path to their deaths by mirages. You can see over here what a mirage is. Before entering the desert, travelers formed long camel caravans for protection. One type of camel was especially suited for desert travel. Back-trained camels have double eyelids and nostrils that can close to keep out blowing sand. They could carry enough food and water for a traveler to make it to the next oasis. Goods exchange along the Eastern Silk Road. It was very expensive to carry goods over the Silk Road. For traders to make a profit, goods had to be valuable and easy to carry. That way, a merchant could take more goods on fewer animals. Silk was the perfect trading good because it was both light and valuable. Huge quantities of silk traveled from China along the Eastern Silk Road. After being traded for other goods, the silk eventually reached the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Then it was taken by boat to Rome and other Mediterranean cities. Besides silk, the Chinese also traded fine dishware, which became known as china. Ornaments, jewelry, cast iron products, and decorative boxes. In return, they received a variety of goods from other traders. They particularly valued horses from Central Asia. Other goods from Central Asia included jade, furs, and gold. India sent various goods north to Kashgar, including cotton, spices, pearls from oysters, and ivory from elephant tusks. From Kashgar, the goods made their way east to China. So now go and answer the questions about 24.4 about the Eastern Silk Road. Number 5 says, list 2 dangers of traveling the eastern part of the Silk Road. Number 6, list 2 products China sent to the west. And number 7, lists 3 products Central Asia traded on the Silk Road. So number 6 is saying things that China is going to trade with people, like the things they're going to give the people. And number 7, what products is China going to get from the people of Central Asia? What are they going to get in return? All right, 24.5, the Western Silk Road. Kashgar was the central trading point where the Eastern and Western Silk Roads met. Goods from various areas were exchanged there and sent in both directions along the trade route. Goods traveling westward went by yak rather than camel. The Western Silk Road ended in Mediterranean ports like Antioch. Traveling the Western Silk Road. The journey west from Kashgar began with a difficult trek across the Pamir Mountains. Some peaks rose over 20,000 feet. Travelers often experience headaches, dizziness, and ringing in the ears caused by lack of oxygen in the thin air of the high mountains. Many of the mountain passes were narrow and dangerous. This part of the route was sometimes called the Trail of Bones because of the many animals and people who died there. Pack animals such as donkeys could slip off the narrow trails and tumble over cliffs. Sometimes traders unloaded their animals and carried the goods through the passes themselves. After the Pamir Mountains, the route took travelers through a fertile valley in what is now Afghanistan. Then it headed across the Iranian Plateau, passed south of the Caspian Sea, and crossed Mesopotamia. A major stop along this part of the route was the Ctesiphon in modern-day Iraq. Ctesiphon was located in the eastern bank of the Tigris River north of ancient Babylon. From Ctesiphon, the Silk Road turned north and crossed the Syrian desert. Travelers across the desert faced many difficulties. They were threatened by tigers, lions, and scorpions, and they were tormented by flies. The goods finally reached Antioch and other Mediterranean ports. From there, they were transported by ship throughout the Mediterranean world. Goods exchanged along the Western Silk Road. Many goods traveled along the Western Silk Road and eventually ended up in China. Traders from Egypt, Arabia, and Persia brought perfumes, cosmetics, and carpets. Central Asian traders brought metal items and dyes. They also sometimes traded slaves. Rome sent a number of products to be exchanged for Chinese silk. The Chinese highly valued Roman glass products, including trays, vases, necklaces, and small bottles. They also prized asbestos, which they used for making fireproof cloth, and coral. Chinese doctors used coral to help them locate illness, as it was said that the coral lost its color when placed on the skin of someone who was sick. The Romans also sent massive amounts of gold to trade for silk. In fact, so much gold was shipped out of Rome that in the 1st century CE, the Roman Emperor Tiberius passed a law forbidding men to wear silk. Legend says the emperor was afraid that wearing so much finery would make the Romans soft and weak. More likely, he wanted to reduce the amount of gold that was flowing out of his empire. All right, so now go answer the questions about that page, 24.5, the Western Silk Road. List 2 dangers of traveling the western part of the Silk Road. List 2 products from Egypt, Arabia, and Persia traded on the Silk Road. And why did the Roman emperor stop men from wearing silk? Last section. cultural exchanges along the Silk Road. Goods were not the only things to